Alright, welcome back to part 2. I just wanted to show you that while we work on the waterfalls, I'm trying to train my book to stay closed. So I have it closed and I have my very heavy thing holding it closed so that it'll help train it to be closed. And then I'm just going to set that aside and we're going to work on the waterfalls. This particular album has 3 waterfalls. I have already created one, so this is what it's going to look like when we're all done. The pattern paper here, oops, I gotta put one down here. The pattern paper here does not have a back side, so that's okay. And then it opens like this. This one's going to open like this. So we're going to create one more like this, and then we're going to create one tall one. So to start off, let's do the scoring. We have here 6, but you need a total of 12 to make both of them. We have 6 pieces of paper that are, these are 2 3/4 by 3 1/4, and we're going to score all 6 of them at 2 1/4 on the 2 3/4 side. So I'm putting them in here at the 2 3/4 side, and I'm scoring them at 2 1/4. 2 1/4. And I'm going to give you a little hint, just because we don't always cut everything the same. Sometimes my lines are going a little bit longer. The reason that I'm scoring them at 2 1/4 instead of at 1/2 inch is because sometimes then they might end up longer. If I'm scoring them at the measurement that I want, then I know everything over here is going to be the exact same size. Okay, just a little tip for you. All right, so I scored all of those. Now I'm going to score the long ones too while I have it out here. So these, you need 8 of these, and these are 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. And we're going to score these at 3 1/4. And keep in mind, these are going to be right side up. So when you cut them, you want to make sure that they are portrait. So like this one here, which has words on it, I want to make sure that they are right side up. Same for this one. And scoring all of these at 3 1/4. 3 1/4. All right. So I'm going to set those ones aside because we're going to work with the other ones first. And then what I have here is a piece of paper that is just a little bit bigger than this by 11 inches. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do is figure out this way, how you want them to lay. Okay, and then you're going to start with your bottom piece, score it, put the adhesive on, and then this piece is going to be the bottom piece. So you just have to do your best to line it up as straight as possible. If you don't want to have, whoops, the little black border around them, you can just make it the exact same size. I chose for this one to have the border. On the other one that I made, I did not have the border. It doesn't show up except for when you flip up your waterfall. And that's the only reason why I chose to do it, because I felt like when I flipped up my waterfall, it looked nicer. Okay. And it's most important that you try to keep it straight while you're attaching them. And I am fully aware that there are better or different ways, maybe not necessarily better, but different ways in which to make waterfalls. And you make your waterfall however you feel most comfortable doing it. This is how I like doing mine. And this is how I do them every time I make one. I fold and I attach them to another sheet of paper. Usually I just have a strip going down the back because usually I don't have them flip up too. So usually I make them a lot more like what we're going to make the next set. But this works too. And the great thing about using the wet adhesive to do it is that you can have a few seconds to move it around should you need to. And last piece. Okay. All right, so now we have our waterfall built. And the next thing that we have to do is, for this one, we're just going to give it a little score. I'm gonna put it in here. And I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a border, kind of like what's all the way around it. Just so that it has a nice little black border. You can see now it looks like it has a nice little black border all the way around. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to trim off this bottom portion. Okay. And then there is our waterfall. I'm going to train this to be flat as well by putting them both, and now I have two of them and they're exactly the same, and I built them that way on purpose. One's gonna go this way and one's gonna go this way in the book. Okay, it's a good thing to train those to lay flatter too, but we are gonna tie them so it'll be okay. Okay, so next up we have our portrait, our long ones, our tall ones. These are gonna go, let's see. Let's put that one there. Let's put that there. And that one there. There we go. And then just to break them up a little bit more, let's put that there. There we go. All right. So what we're going to do for this one is I just have a strip of paper here. And I'm going to put my adhesive onto the paper. Just like that. And then this guy is just going to attach to the paper. Usually when I do this, I just lay my ATG tape. I just cover this strip with the ATG tape, but since I'm all out of ATG tape, we have to get creative. And the only reason I'm not putting it on the flaps is because the strip that I am using is not as big as the flaps. So I don't want to overlap it. And then I'm laying this down, simply overlapping the last one that was there. It's slightly easier to build it from the bottom up, I think. But when I'm doing it this way, I can't really do that as easily. So I'm just going to do it this way. Adhesive there again. And then line that up. And then I like to line it up before I lay it flat and then open it up. Next one. Adhesive down. Also, the other thing I liked better about the other one that I did was that it was double-sided paper, so it looked nice on both sides, but that's okay. There we go. And again, more adhesive. And lay it down. Lay this down. And there we go. A little bit of adhesive right there. There we go. And one more. And then this guy's gonna go right there and lined up perfectly. Okay, and now the last thing that I would do is I need a piece that is just 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. I actually need 3 pieces like that so that I can finish all of these off. It's 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. So let's go ahead and cut those. 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. Actually, I'm gonna not use that one. I'm going to use Alright, whatever. I'm gonna use this one, I guess. 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. So we've got 2 of those, and then I need, and I'll just do all 3 of them this way, I guess. 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. Okay. Then each of these guys is going to sit in there, but I need to trim a hair of it off because I do not want, I don't want it to mix up my black piece down there, and I also don't want it to show underneath because it'll mix up my pattern. Okay. There's another one. And then we'll do this guy. Trim him. And then a little bit of adhesive on there. last but not least, this guy is gonna go right about there. So we need to trim a little bit off of here as well. Okay. Then we're gonna put some adhesive there and then there. Get a nice good stick. And then just trim the extra of that off of there. And then you can see what the back looks like. We have just this black strip, and this is how I normally make my waterfalls. I just have a strip that's hidden back there. So now my waterfalls are finished. All we have to do is decide how we want them to stay closed. You could use a magnet. I don't want to use a magnet just because, number one, I don't have any, and number two, I don't really want to put a magnet on here because then I'd have to put something over it to cover it. And same for here. I'm just going to use this crochet string. I don't really know what it's called. I bought it for crocheting and then never used it for that, so I'm just going to call it crochet string. All right, I'm going to tie it on here first. And I'm tying it on these ones where the whole thing flaps up. I'm tying it all the way around the whole card, not just the waterfall part, because I want it to keep it down. Okay, there we go. Then trim and trim, just like so. That one's good. Then get another one. Slide that underneath there. And tie this one together. Sometimes I like to leave them a little bit bigger until I actually put them in the book, just so I know how much string I'm actually going to need. All right, and then lastly, this guy. Okay, this one is a tad harder to get straight. If you have issues with tying them before they're tied down, you could always just tape this into your book and then tie it. Okay. Make sure, ow, whatever you do, ow, I just cut my finger. Make sure that whatever you do, you give yourself enough room to retie the bow. Okay. Now I'm going to put some tape over those. And I'm putting the tape right over the string because it's double-sided tape. So once I pour it off, it will stay attached. Also, I'm making sure to put my adhesive right near the top and right near the bottom. And then I'm going to put some in the center right over the string. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to turn this over. I'm just going to move my string to the center a little bit Put this right near the top again. Right here. And then a line of it right in the center. Push it down really well. And lastly, this one at the top, at the bottom, and right there. Okay, we've got our waterfalls ready to go. Now let's bring back in our book. Open this up. One thing that I did do that I didn't do in the last part that I forgot to show you is I put this, just a scrap strip right through the center, because otherwise the white would show in between these two pieces. So this guy's gonna go right here like that. And then this guy's gonna go right here like that. And then this guy is gonna go right there. So that, once you've done that, that is your book put together. So I'm gonna go ahead and tape those all off screen, and then we will come back for part 3, and part 3 will be where we decorate the book. Okay, so all you're gonna do is tape these all, or put these all in, you know, just like that. Make sure these two alternate. It'll look a little bit nicer. They could go the same direction if you want to. If you want to have it be so they look at it like this, you could do that if you wanted to. I just kind of enjoy that they're going different ways. Makes it a little bit more interesting, I guess. Just a little bit of interest. All right, so I'm going to do that off camera, and then we'll come back for the second part, or for the third part, and that should be the final part. Okay, bye-bye now.